Agyamanak, magandang araw sa inyong lahat at welcome sa Patas sa Batas, ang podcast kung saan masinsinan nating pinag-usapan ng batas, pananagutan at mga usaping may direktang epekto sa taong bayan. Ako si Trinidad De Leon at sa episode na ito, kasama natin ang isa sa pinakarespetado at pinakamapagkakatiwalaang tinig sa usaping constitutional law at rule of law. Walang iba, and let us all welcome retired Supreme Court Senior Associate Justice Carpio. Justice Carpio, maraming salamat for joining us.
Good evening, Gino. Good evening to our viewers.
Justice, pag-uusapan natin ngayon ang isa sa pinakamainit na legal at political issue sa bansa, ang impeachment proceedings involving Vice President Sara Duterte. Maraming usok, maraming spin, maraming legal claims, kaya ang gusto natin gawin today is to help the public understand. Ano ba ang legal issues? Ano ang dapat bantayan? Bakit mahalaga pa rin ito? Justice, unahin natin ang malaking tanong. Sa dami ng problema ng bansa, mataas ng presyo ng trabaho, seguridad, edukasyon, marami nagtatanong, bakit mahalaga pa rin pagtuunan ng pansin ang impeachment?
Well, impeachment is accountability, no? So we demand accountability from all our officials, especially our highest officials. So matagal na ito, dapat tapusin natin. Andiyan na yan, yung kahit na may fuel crisis ngayon, we can still continue with the impeachment, no?
Kapag sinasabi ng ilan na politika lang yan, mataas ang presyo ngayon, dapat yun ang tuunan ng bansin. Fair ba ang framing na iyon ng mga nagsasabi?
Well, accountability cannot be set aside in case may mga crisis tayo, no? Patulad ng fuel crisis, which is beyond our control. Uh, Accountability should continue, no? Pwede naman sabayan eh. The Congress can, lalo na they are in recess soon, so they can hold the hearings during the recess.
Justice, sabi nila, di ba, mataas kasi yung presyo, how do you think will the current economic situation impact the impeachment proceedings, if any?
Well, ang tingin ko diyan, baka matabo na, no? Dahil pag talagang mataas ang presyo, people will feel the pain, and baka sabihin nila, tama na muna 'yan, no? Tama na muna yung politika. But this is accountability, no? Dapat harapin natin ito dahil we otherwise eh, madali lang iwasan yung accountability pag may crisis, man-made or beyond your control, no? So uh, dapat patuloy yung accountability.
Yes. Justice, punta tayo sa usapin. Yan, punta tayo sa naging sagot o legal response ng Vice President. May naglalarawan dito as a kind of um, um, parang weird tactic nung sinabi niyang ad cautelam, no? Maraming mga hindi sumasang-ayon on whether or not it's ad cautelam o kung saka-sakaling yung ba yung tamang move, no? Sa inyong palagay, bakit kaya ginawa ni Vice President Sara Duterte na ad cautelam ang kanyang answer?
Well, dahil in the use ad cautelam dahil they're questioning the jurisdiction, no? So they're saying, assuming you have jurisdiction, ito yung position namin. So ad cautelam, no? In other words, they're saying that they're not in complete agreement of the jurisdiction, that the House has jurisdiction.
And do you think this is an effective strategy for the Vice President? Do you agree with this kind of strategy?
Well, ang tingin ko diyan kung talagang wala ka ng defense, no, talagang ah, andiyan na lahat yung mga ano, yung mga ah, affidavits, mga statements, tsaka COA reports, hanapan mo ng paraan na you attack it from the jurisdictional point of view, no? So tingin ko that's what they're doing, and parang they're preparing their grounds to go to the Supreme Court, no? Kasi kini-question nga nila yung jurisdiction eh.
And so sa tingin nyo, dudulog ulit sila sa Korte Suprema kagaya ng ginawa nila noong nakaraang taon?
Yes, tingin ko dahil that shows sa answer nila, no? It's more on jurisdictional, no? So at saka, I think, 'pag, if they bring it to the Supreme Court, hinto muna yung proceedings 'pag, may instruction ng Supreme Court, may order, and ang harapin na lang ng tao yung crisis, yung fuel crisis. So, I think that is their strategy.
Pupunta tayo mamaya diyan doon sa pagdulog nila sa Supreme Court Justice 'no. Pero, um, dahil doon sa answer ni Sara Duterte na tinatawag ng ilan na non-answer 'no, may mga complainants and even yung House Committee on Justice said na hindi na nila kailangang mag-file ng reply 'no, dito sa answer ni Vice President Sara
Mm.
Duterte. Do you think that is a proper strategy for the complainants o wala naman talaga dapat sila ng sagutin considering that the answer is a non-answer?
Well, I think, they were trying to cut short the proceedings 'no. Uh, 'Pag, may ano sila, reply sila, meron pang rejoinder, it could take time. At saka, ah, ano, very general yung answer, 'no? Hindi naman sinagot yung mga specific, allegations, 'no? So, tama naman yung ginawa nila, to just forgo with uh, their reply.
And kaya kailangang pabilisin rin kahit papaano yung proceedings is because tama Justice 'di ba may limited time frame lamang na talakayin ng Justice Committee ang mga issues bago nila ibigay sa plenaryo at the same time ma-escalate doon sa Supreme Court
Yeah, they
pursuant
have
to the decision
yeah,
of the Supreme Court.
the the Committee on Justice has 60 session days. Uh, Although, that's more than enough, pero uh, I think, tama na rin yung ginawa nila dahil wala naman talagang, uh, uh, that was directly, contradicted, no? Directly traversed uh, by the answer. So very, ang attack ng answer, I think, is on the jurisdictional issue.
Looking ahead Justice, ano ang nakikita ninyong mangyari sa mga susunod na hearings? At anong
Well,
dapat bantayan ng publiko 'no, not just politically but legally and procedurally?
I think the issue will be, whether the Committee on Justice, can issue, uh, a subpoena duces tecum on the bank accounts dahil, the one of the exceptions sa secrecy of bank deposit law is in cases of impeachment. Hindi naman sinasabi in, uh, uh, impeachment court. In cases of impeachment, kasama doon yung initiation sa House, no? But, of course, ang gagawin ng mga abogado ni Sara, ki-questionin nila yan. Sabihin nila, it's only the impeachment court. So, aakyat yan sa Supreme Court. So, ang dapat gagawin as a fail-safe mechanism, a fallback position, ang gagawin nila, they will also subpoena the ombudsman, uh, to appear and bring the bank account records. Dahil yung ombudsman, every government official, when you file your SALN, nakalagay doon, I hereby authorize the ombudsman to verify my assets and liabilities with any appropriate government agency. Appropriate government agency includes the AMLA. Ang tingin ko, I suspect, no, uh, I have a strong suspicion that nakuha na ni Ombudsman Remulla yung records sa AMLA. Dahil, remember, ino-post ni Sara yung nomination ni Boying Remulla, and because alam nila ganyan gagawin ni Boying. Uh, Kasi si Ombudsman Martirez doon ayaw niya kunin eh. So, I think that was the reason why Boying was appointed. And I think meron na siya. So dapat ang gagawin ng Committee on Justice, isabpina si Boying Remulla, the ombudsman, and to bring the bank account records to verify if it matches with the SALN, what was reported in the SALN of Sara and the entire Duterte family na may na na who are government officials. Dahil yung bank account sa BPI joint yun eh. So sabit sila lahat doon eh. So I think that is the most crucial. Uh, Whatever happens, kahit na hindi matuloy yung Senate trial o yung Senate trial will result in acquittal, pag lumabas yung bank accounts, I think uh, that will have a great effect on the popularity of the Dutertes dahil from what I hear uh, from uh, many sources, ang laki ng deposit, way beyond uh, their legitimate income. No? Tsaka yung mga nagdideposito doon, mga known shadowy figures. No? So
And
yun ang bantayan natin na lalabas yun. And I think Ombudsman Remulla must bring these records out.
so it's not just the bank officers, the bank records ang pwede isapina, which is an exception to the bank secrecy rule. So pwede rin si Boeing because of the waiver, no? Because of the waiver
Yes.
na pinirmahan ni Sara Duterte during the when she submitted her SAL. And based on
Yeah.
sa una ko ring nakita, Justice, no, parang ang lalaki ng amounts. Meron yata doon na 20 million pesos na na transfer sa bawat isang anak, no, ni Rodrigo Duterte, 20 million pesos each. And there is a law, di ba, na pwedeng i-subject sa forfeiture proceedings kung meron mga malaking amounts na hindi ma-explain. And in fact, ang presumption is that these wealth na hindi ma-explain is presumed
Presumed to be ill-gotten.
ill-gotten. So if that's going to be the case, Justice, no, once nailabas na ito, sufficient na ba to for conviction kung hindi ma-explain ni Sara Duterte kung saan nanggaling yung amount na yun? In other words, is it accurate to say na nag-shift yung burden of evidence the moment na mailabas ng bank accounts?
Yes, that will be more than sufficient. You remember yung kay CJ Corona, isang bank account lang yun, yung dollar account niya lang, no? Na hindi niya ni-report. Yeah. So, hindi niya ni-report. So, that was already enough because the Constitution says that every government official must submit his statement of assets and liabilities as may be required by law. So, yun lang. That was the only ground of the conviction. No? So ito, ganyan din yan. Because that's really, goes into uh, the honesty, no? The accountability of public officials.
Of all the grounds, Justice, di ba, meron tong sa SALN, non-declaration of wealth, yung mga transactions niya sa bank accounts. But there's also the ground doon sa tinatawag nating confidential funds, no? Yung mga pangalan na inimbento doon. Ang sabi nga, chinichiri yung pera ng taong bayan, no? What do you think of that ground? And what are the pieces of evidence that must be procured in order for that ground to hold water?
Well, yung confidential funds, that is an important issue, no? Dahil yung the Constitution says that the public has a right to information on all matters of public interest, and the matter of that involves the public interest is disbursement of public funds. Yan ang pinakamataas na important matter of public interest. Ngayon, so that is the general rule. No? All government officials must account for how they disburse public funds. Ang nakalagay sa Constitution, unless there is a law providing for reasonable limitations. Hanggang ngayon, wala tayong batas that provides reasonable limitations. So, ang tingin ko dyan, hindi lang dahil walang batas, dapat walang confidential fund. Kasi nakalagay unless there is a law that provides for reasonable limitations. So, doon pa lang, by the mere fact na may confidential funds, that's already unconstitutional. No? And in fact, kami sa Isang Bayan, we filed a petition in the Supreme Court. We wrote sa VP Sara to explain to us how she spent the confidential funds, about 120 million pesos. Sabi niya, I cannot disclose to you because there is a executive order signed by my father saying that uh, confidential funds excuse me, cannot be inquired into. So that is the issue now and wala pang decision. So maybe this will come to a head, no? Dahil the Supreme Court has not decided. Klaro naman yung Supreme Court unless there is a law providing for reasonable limitation. Walang batas eh. The only issuance is yung kay President Duterte, yung executive order niya. But that is not a law.
Yeah.
That is not a law. That cannot be the exception, no? That cannot give the exception. More so because this is accountability. So it's very important that this should be resolved, no? So dapat ang sabihin ng mga complainants and even the prosecutors later on na walang batas and therefore uh, she has to explain how she spent it. Hindi niya masabi na confidential fund ito. That should be the first argument, no?
Justice, yung isa sa sinasabi ng Sara Duterte camp is, yung daw confidential funds, 'di ba kasi merong issue on how they liquidated it through the vouchers. Ang sinasabi nila, talagang inimbento yung mga pangalan na yan kasi legal yan sa pagle-liquidate, 'no? And in fact, okay lang na pare-pareho yung pumiro. What can you say about that defense?
Well, there is a existing COA regulation na when you liquidate confidential funds, you have to submit the real name. Although you can use fictitious name, but you will submit in a sealed envelope who are these fictitious people. You state who is the real person that you have used a fictitious name. That is how you can account how you spent it. Then nasa sealed envelope yan and COA keeps that. So unfortunately, wala silang ginawang ganyan. They cannot present that. So that's another, assuming that there can be confidential funds now, merong regulation COA na part of your liquidation is you have to state in a sealed envelope sino yung tao na yon na may ano may uh, may may ibang pangalan, no? Who is this Piatos, no?
Sino may alias, no? Kung alias ba talaga ito?
Kung
Sino
alias ba?
talaga yan in a sealed envelope?
That
Part
has
of
to
the
be
evidence has to be siguro a negative certification ba from COA na hindi nila kinumply
yeah,
ito?
the impeachment court or even the House Committee on Justice can subpoena that from COA.
I see. Diretso na kita justice kasi kanina sinabi natin na maaaring dumulog at sa tingin ninyo, tudulog si Sara Duterte sa impeachment court, ay sa Supreme Court, no? Sa inyong palagay, compliant na ba ang hakbang na ginagawa ngayon ng House of Representatives to comply with the new rules stated in Duterte versus House, where the Supreme Court initially prevented the continuation of the impeachment proceedings last year?
Yes, it appears, and the way I look at it, the members of the Committee on Justice are very cognizant of strictly following their own rules, no, and they're giving Sara all the time to. In other words, there's due process, but my thinking is that Sara will not appear because yun nga, ang kanilang plano is to question the jurisdiction.
Yung isang inaano nila justice na sa akin 'no, bilang isang abogado rin, hindi ko maintindihan yung alegasyon na ito, pero para na rin siguro sa members of the public ma-explain natin, justice, ano yung sinasabi nila, naniniwala ka ba dun sa kanilang technical defense na wala namang ultimate facts dun sa complaint? Ano masasabi niyo po
Alam mo
dun and
yung
para sa kaalaman lang siguro ng publiko na nanonood?
well, yung third complaint, over 1,000 pages yun kasama yung annexes. Yung ultimate fact naman, as distinguished from evidentiary fact, yung ultimate fact, sabihin mo na A, took the money of B from the wallet of B. Yun yung ultimate facts. Yung evidentiary, sino nakakita, no? Yung statement ng may-ari na nawala. Pero iba yon, evidentiary. Hindi mo pwede pagsama yon. So I think with the 1,000 pages, kumpleto yung ultimate facts doon, no?
Mhm. So in other words, 'di ba, ang ultimate fact is yung allegation, what needs to be proven. So sinabi dito, you committed graft corruption through the misuse of the confidential funds. That is an ultimate fact, yung misuse of the confidential funds. Ang evidentiary fact doon is yung liquidation forms, yung testimonya kung saan mo ginastos, kung, 'di ba, kung ano yung record, yung explanation mo. Those are the evidentiary facts. So, based on your assessment, Justice, there is that ultimate fact in the 1,000 plus pages complaint, no, in the third impeachment complaint.
Yeah, oo.
Okay.
Tama yun.
Yeah. Justice, siguro sa bago doon sa halos pagtatapos natin dito, merong si Sara Duterte nag-declare na tatakbo na presidente sa 2028. Do you have what do you think would be the effect of that, no? What would the effect of that, if any, insofar as the impeachment proceedings are concerned?
Anong what event yung
Yung pagdeklara ni Sara Duterte ng kanyang presidential candidacy sa
ah,
2028.
yeah, I think she was trying to convey the message na I'm leading in the opinion surveys, in the public polls, and I could be the next president, so dahan-dahan kayo sa akin. I think that was the message. Very clear, no?
And
Yun ang message niya.
Oo. And Justice, do you think that is effective as a political tool to actually make sure that she will be able to once again get away from the impeachment proceedings?
Well, I think as far as the Committee on Justice is concerned, it has no effect because unanimous sila palagi, no? So it has no effect on the Committee on Justice. There is only one there who voted against the sufficiency in form and substance, no?
Ito yung si ano, 'di ba, yung kung ano-anong sinabing kawalang hiyaan sa isang kasama nating artista, 'no. Justice, batay sa mga impormasyon na nasa public domain, paano dapat pag-isipan ng publiko ang ebidensya sa yugtong ito? The evidence so far, do you think that the pieces of evidence are overall strong and would be sufficient to at least, A, escalate the matter to an actual trial? And B, eventually a conviction, based on what you have seen so far and the pieces of evidence that we know.
Yes, I think the evidence so far is very strong. Yun na lang sa mga liquidation nila on the confidential funds. Those are fictitious persons. Wala namang they don't appear in the uh, Philippine Statistical Authority, yung mga birth certificates nila, wala naman. So fictitious talaga. So they have to present somebody else, no? Who are these people? Up to now, wala naman. And from what I gather, wala silang sinubmit sa COA, that sealed envelope. So wala. If you subpoena the records, walang ano. They did not comply.
Eh, Justice, yung sa ano naman, yung bago tayo magtapos, no, what about on the impeachment ground na nire-rely upon, which is yung contract to kill. Ang sabi, si Sara Duterte not only threatened the president, the speaker of the house, the first lady, but actually hired an assassin. Di ba sabi niya, nagaling sa kanyang bibig mismo, no joke, no? Nag-hire na raw siya at papatayin daw sila pagka may nangyari sa kanya. Do you think that is a strong enough ground when it comes to the impeachment process of Sara Duterte?
Yes, I think that's also strong because ang sagot lang nila ni Sara is wala namang kontrata pinapakita. Well, wala namang kontrata itong mga ganito. Assassination ito, hindi ito nagpipirma ng kontrata. So, inamin niya eh. So, wala na. It's all there. And that is considered an extrajudicial confession, admission. And that's admissible in court, no? Parang si Duterte yan, inamin niya na ako, I ordered the killing or I'm responsible. So, mahilig sila sa ganyan eh. and it's coming to haunt them now, no? Yung yung rant ni VP Sara, talagang ano 'yun, admissible in evidence 'yun.
Mm. The strongest, 'di ba? Isa sa mga pieces, the strongest sa ating
Oo,
mga practicing lawyers is confession, admission, declaration against interest.
oo, talagang
Oo.
ano 'yun, and nationwide 'yun, hindi niya naman dini-disown ta's sabi niya lang wala namang kontrata pinapakita. Eh, hindi naman you don't have contracts for this na in writing 'no? Wala namang seremonyas na magpipirma kayo, may mga witnesses pa,
Baka gusto niya
papanotaryo pa.
notaryado pa. Okay, Justice Carpio, before we close this episode, kung may isang bagay na dapat tandaan ng publiko tungkol sa impeachment process, ano yun?
Yung ano, yung, uh, that, this should, send a message to our high public officials that they are always accountable to the people. Yan naman ang nasa Constitution, no? Public officials are accountable at all times. I even believe that walang ano eh, walang prescription period yan eh, at all times eh, no? So, I think we have to give teeth to this provision, and this is one occasion, one instance that uh, we can set an example to future leaders that they have to remain accountable to the people. No?
And if not justice, no? And as we've always observed, it appears that the Dutertes, including Sara Duterte, have escaped accountability for far too long. Dito na ako nakakita ng nanapak ng sheriff enforcing a court order. Unscathed. Wala nangyari. Yung iba nagbura lang or nagbubura, disbarred. Ito, wala nangyari,
Mm.
no? Nanapak ng somebody who's just executing a court order pero wala nangyari. So hopefully, this time around, they will face accountability. Justice Antonio Carpio, maraming salamat po sa inyong malinaw na pagbabahagi.
Thank you, Gino. Thank you to our viewers.
Thank you very much, Justice. Okay. Sa susunod na episode natin, pag-uusapan naman natin ang West Philippine Sea. But for now, Agyamanak, ako po si Atty. Dino De Leon at ito po ang Patas Dapat sa Batas.